What we're going to be visiting today, Giacomini Wetlands, is a really exciting restoration project. 1946, there was a ranching family named here, Giacomini family. Waldo Giacomini was the main rancher. And what was formerly considered to be worthless land, a lot of salt marsh right at the south end of Tamales Bay, he started constructing levees, basically building up big berms about 10 feet tall, with the idea that if you could prevent some of the water from flowing into that area, you could convert it into productive use. And was doing his ranching activity for the next 40 or 50 years. By the 1990s, the National Park Service came up with the idea actually of acquiring the land and restoring the area back to the wetlands condition that it formerly had been in. In the year 2000, the National Park Service bought roughly the 500 acres that we're going to be exploring today from the Giacomini family and started the process. This earth mover removing a few bucketfuls of dirt that allowed the high water to move in from Tamales Bay into the former wetlands, into the restored area. And so it went tidal for the first time in 60 years. And the ability to restore 500 acres of wetlands is a pretty huge amount anywhere. It's certainly one of the largest restoration projects anywhere in Central California. Whoa, baby. Species that are here, some threatened species like black rail and clapper rail and tidewater goby and red-legged frogs and steelhead salmon and coho all have already shown positive impacts. And we got a turkey vulture to the left as the big bird just going up without much of a head look. So we got it pretty easy here in Central California in the fall and winter. It's certainly a lot milder than other parts of North America. There's a lot of food, even in the winter months, and we have a large number of birds migrating. Bird diversity, probably the middle of the winter is as good a time, as high a number of species as any time of the year. One of the main reasons that this estuary is here is that we are between two continental plates right here. And pretty much where we're sitting, or where we're floating, we're sitting right on top of the San Andreas Fault. So I'm sure you all know quite a bit about the fault and how it's the boundary between these two continental plates. It's created this whole valley that we're in the middle of. It's called technically the Rift Zone Valley, the Olima Valley. As the ocean levels have increased, this valley has been inundated. So there's basically a term for that as a flooded stream valley. And that's a fairly characteristic or common feature along the Central California coast, certainly San Francisco Bay. We have buckeye and some coast live oaks growing here along with the willows. It's a in that sense, it's a partially riparian habitat here. We actually have a very large number of peregrine falcons that migrate into this area and spend the winter here. And we know that from our winter bird counts. Anybody know what peregrine falcons like to eat? Other birds, exactly. Things like ducks. Okay, mostly we're hearing this little sound on the right is a song sparrow. Yeah, a whole group of double-crested cormorants flying overhead. And they're certainly been opportunistically feeding in the flooded marshlands. Cormorants eat fish, yeah. Narrow plants with a little seed pod on top on either side are tules. T-U-L-E, and they're somewhat related to cattail, a freshwater marshy plant. Is it a western grebe? Yeah, this long-necked bird in front of us, just dove, which is what they do, is a bird that doesn't breed here, but they are in Tamales Bay and San Francisco, pretty big numbers in the winter and fall, the western grebe. A great egret, and as we're getting on towards high tide here, some of the critters that are in the wet meadows basically have to move because the water's over a period of time is going to be 6 feet higher than it was 4 or 5 hours ago of those small animals. And that they're intently looking around for any motion now when these animals are a little bit more susceptible to predation. The area to the right was the former pasture land, and you can see now the way that tidal water, the height of the water here is high enough that it's flowing into the wetlands, or the newly created wetlands to the right there. And that was not happening for 60 years up until last October, because there were 8-foot-high levees all around the pasture land to the right, and also the pasture land to the left here. You can see the water's, it's only basically 18 inches deep or so here. So again, it's just the tidal waters flooded this marshland. Yeah, but it would just take a while to... We're bombarded by so many stimuli in our lives, and I know most of you folks probably in an hour or two will be back on busy highways, so just make sure you really take in these surroundings and the special qualities that are here. Remember, just a couple years ago or less, off to the left was pretty much a dust-dry brown pasture land. It's pretty amazing that we could restore over 500 acres of wetlands, and still there are other areas for the dairy industry to be doing their operations as well.